July 8, 2014. Varna Airport, Bulgaria. Lars Mittank, 28 years old, Germany. Vacation with friends. A week at the beach. Everything normal until day 6. Bar fight over football. Head injury. Ruptured eardrum. Doctor says, don't fly. It's dangerous. His friends return to Germany. Lars stays alone. The next few days, strange behavior. Hiding in hotel elevator. Leaving at midnight. Returning an hour later. He calls his mother. Whispers, people want to kill me. Cancel my credit cards. July 8th. Varna Airport. Consults with airport doctor. Everything fine. He can fly. But Lars is nervous. Asks about his medication. A construction worker enters the office. Lars starts trembling. He screams, I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here. He stands up. Abandons his luggage. His passport. His phone. His wallet. Abandons everything. Runs through the airport. Security cameras capture it all. Exits terminal. Crosses parking lot. Jumps barbed wire fence. Runs towards sunflower field. Disappears into forest. 11 years later, no trace. Airport cameras captured everything. The video has over 16 million views on YouTube. Lars Mittank is known as the most famous missing person on YouTube. Psychosis? Real persecution? Human trafficking? Why did he run? What did he see when the construction worker entered the office? Where is Lars Mittank? Lars Joachim Mittank was born on February 9, 1986 in Berlin, Germany. He grew up in Itzehoe, Schleswig-Holstein, a small town in northern Germany. He lived there his entire life. He worked at a power plant in Wilhelmshaven, which is Germany's only deep-water port and its largest naval base. Lars was a normal person. He had friends. He had a long-term girlfriend. He had a very close relationship with his parents, especially with his mother, Sandra Mittank. After his father suffered a stroke, Lars often helped at his parents' house after work. He was a football fan. His team was SV Werder Bremen. He attended matches. He followed every season. It was part of his identity. He had no history of mental illness. No schizophrenia in his family. He didn't use drugs. He was stable, responsible, predictable. He had never traveled outside Germany. In late June 2014, Lars, at 28 years old, decided it was time to change that. 5 of his high school friends were planning a trip to Bulgaria, to Varna, to Golden Sands, a popular resort on the Black Sea coast. Golden Sands is known as the Ibiza of the Black Sea. Sunday beach, cheap alcohol, nightclubs. It's a popular destination for young European tourists. Lars agreed to join. On June 30, 2014, Lars and his 5 friends flew to Varna, Bulgaria. The first week was perfect. The week went by really fast, said Paul Roman, one of Lars's friends, on German television in 2016. We relaxed on the beach, swam in the pool, played football, went clubbing. He was relaxed. He was in a good mood. Another friend, Tim Schult, noticed Lars didn't eat much, that he only ate small soup or small salad at a time. But that didn't seem unusual. It was summer. It was hot. Many people eat less when on vacation. The first 5 days were quiet. Beach, pool, football, drinks, laughter. It was 2014. The World Cup was in full swing. Semi-finals were broadcast in every bar. And in Bulgaria, especially in Golden Sands during high season, the bars were packed. With Germans. With British. With young Europeans celebrating summer and football. July 6, 2014. The day before the group was scheduled to fly back to Germany. Lars and his friends were at a bar in town. Drinking. Watching the match. Talking about football. And as sometimes happens when alcohol and football are involved, a disagreement arose. Lars, a Werder Bremen fan, started arguing with other Germans in the bar. They were Bayern Munich fans. Werder Bremen versus Bayern Munich. An old rivalry. Usually harmless. Just words. But that night it escalated. Lars left the bar before his friends. Left the restaurant. Disappeared for the rest of the night. His friends didn't think much of it. They assumed he returned to the resort. That he was tired. That he went to sleep. The next morning, July 7th, Lars appeared at the resort. But something had happened. Lars told his friends he'd been beaten. That 4 men hired by the group he argued with in the bar attacked him. The details were vague. Different friends gave different versions to authorities. Some said the men from the bar beat him directly. Others said the men hired a local to do the job. But the result was clear. Lars had an injured jaw. and a ruptured eardrum. A ruptured eardrum is painful. It's serious, and it has specific implications for flying. Lars went to see a local doctor. The doctor prescribed him 500 milligrams of Cefprozil, an antibiotic, to prevent infection, and gave him critical advice: don't fly. The changes in air pressure during flight could cause permanent damage to your hearing. Lars agreed. His friends were scheduled to fly back to Germany on July 7th. But Lars would have to stay behind. He'd wait a few days, let his eardrum heal. His friends offered to stay with him, delay their flights, wait together. But Lars insisted. I'm fine alone. Take the original flight. I'll see you in a few days. On July 7th at noon, the group had to check out of the Viva Club hotel where they'd been staying. Lars's friends boarded their flight back to Germany. Lars stayed in Bulgaria, alone. He found a different hotel. Hotel Color Varna, near the airport, in an unfamiliar area, more rundown than Golden Sands. And there, in that hotel, the strange behavior began. On the night of July 7, 2014, Lars Mittank called his mother, Sandra. The call was disturbing. Lars whispered, spoke low, said he wanted her to block his credit card, that he feared it had been copied when he checked into the new hotel. Sandra agreed. She blocked the card. But Lars didn't stop calling. Throughout the night, he called his mother, multiple times. In one call, he asked her what was in Cefprozil, the pills the doctor prescribed for his ear. He seemed suspicious, worried, as if he thought the pills were causing something, as if he thought the pills were the problem. Cefprozil is a cephalosporin antibiotic. It treats bacterial infections. It prevents wound complications. Common side effects include dizziness, restlessness, hyperactivity. Rare side effects include hallucinations, paranoia, psychosis. Was it possible Lars was experiencing a rare side effect from the medication? His mother started worrying. In another call, Lars told her something even more alarming. "For men are following me. They want to kill me." Sandra tried to calm him, told him he was probably imagining things, that he'd been through trauma with the attack, that he was stressed, that he needed rest. But Lars was convinced. He was certain. There were people following him, people who wanted to hurt him. "I thought, God, my son is in danger," Sandra later said on German television. "I could hear his heart pounding over the phone." He said people were trying to rob or kill him. Hotel Color Varna had security cameras in the hallways. Those cameras captured Lars's behavior that night. They captured him pacing up and down the hallways, looking out windows, hiding in the elevator. Around 1 in the morning, Lars left the hotel. The cameras captured him leaving. He returned approximately an hour later. Where did he go during that hour? Nobody knows. Lars never said. And there's no evidence of where he was. But when he returned, his paranoia had worsened. On the morning of July 8th, Lars called his mother again. He told her the people following him were getting closer, that he needed to get out of Bulgaria. Sandra, desperate to help her son, booked him a flight for that same day, back to Germany. But there was a problem. Sandra had blocked Lars's credit cards at his request. Lars had no access to money. So Sandra arranged to send him 500 euros via Western Union. Lars took a taxi to Varna airport. In the taxi, the woman who shared the ride with him noticed something strange. Lars's pupils were dilated. He seemed urgently wanting to get to the airport. When he arrived, Lars called his mother. "I made it to the airport," he said. He seemed relieved, surprised he'd made it there, as if he wasn't sure he would. Sandra advised him to visit the airport doctor once he checked in, to make sure his eardrum was healed enough to fly. Lars agreed. July 8, 2014. Early morning. Varna Airport. Lars sent a text message to his mother, arrived at airport safely. Then he went to the airport medical clinic to consult with the doctor, Dr. Kosta Kostov. Dr. Kostov performed a physical exam, checked Lars's ear. "You're fine," Dr. Kostov said. "You can fly." But Lars didn't leave. He sat in a chair in the doctor's office. He seemed nervous, erratic. Dr. Kostov noticed. His behavior was nervous and erratic, Kostov later said. Lars asked the doctor questions about the medication he was taking, about Cefprozil. "What's in this?" Lars asked. "What is it doing to me?" Dr. Kostov assured him the medication was safe, that it was a standard antibiotic. But Lars didn't seem convinced. At that moment, something happened that changed everything. A construction worker entered the office. The airport was undergoing renovation. There were construction workers everywhere. It was normal for them to enter and exit different areas. But when the construction worker entered the doctor's office, Lars reacted. He started trembling. And then he screamed, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here." He stood up from the chair, abandoned his luggage, abandoned his passport, abandoned his cell phone, abandoned his wallet, abandoned everything, and ran. Dr. Kostov was stunned. "I can't think of a single reason why he left my office in such a panic," he later said. "I'm still confused." Varna airport security cameras captured everything. Varna airport security cameras are standard. They're not high definition. They're grainy, black and white, with timestamps. But they captured every second of Lars Mittank's flight from the airport. And that video, eventually uploaded to YouTube, would go viral. Over 16 million views by May 2018, less than 4 years after his disappearance, making him the most famous missing person on YouTube. The video begins inside the airport terminal. Lars is walking down a hallway. He's wearing jeans, a black t-shirt with a logo, a backpack on his back. He's moving fast. He's not running, but he's walking with purpose, with urgency. He passes other travelers, check-in counters, shops. He's heading toward the exit. Then the video switches to outdoor cameras. Lars exits the terminal, exits through automatic doors, and then he starts running. It's not a jog. It's a sprint. Full. Desperate. He runs through the airport parking lot, his arms pumping, his body leaning forward. He looks terrified. He reaches a fence, a 2-meter-high barbed wire fence. He doesn't hesitate. He scales it, jumps over it, and then he runs toward a field, a meadow, a sunflower field next to Bulgarian National Highway A2. The airport cameras lose him in the field. That's the last confirmed image of Lars Mittank, a 28-year-old man, running barefoot toward a forest, without passport, without phone, without money, disappearing into sunflowers, never seen again. But before we move forward, there's something you need to understand about that video, about what it shows, and what it doesn't show. The video shows Lars running, shows panic, shows fear, but it doesn't show why. It doesn't show what made him run. It doesn't show if anyone was chasing him. It doesn't show the construction worker. It doesn't show the 4 men Lars told his mother were following him. The airport cameras didn't capture anyone else running, anyone chasing Lars, anyone following him. They only captured Lars, alone, running. So what happened? Why did he run? Let's go back to the moment in the doctor's office. The moment before Lars screamed and ran. Dr. Kosta Kostov said Lars was nervous, that he was asking questions about his medication. And then a construction worker entered the office. Who was that worker? Why did he enter? What did he say or do? Dr. Kostov never gave those details. Reports only say a construction worker entered the office. Was it just a random worker doing his job? Or was it someone Lars recognized? Lars said 4 men were following him. Was the construction worker one of those men? Or was Lars experiencing a hallucination? A psychosis? Did he see something that wasn't there? Dr. Kostov said something critical after Lars's disappearance. He didn't take those antibiotics. He didn't even fill out his prescription. This is important. The popular theory is that Lars experienced psychosis as a side effect of Cefprozil. But according to Dr. Kostov, Lars never took the medication. So what caused his paranoia? There are several theories. Theory 1, traumatic brain injury. Lars took a blow to the head during the fight. His eardrum ruptured. Head blows can cause concussions, and concussions can cause unusual behavior. Psychosis can be triggered by traumatic brain injury. Symptoms include paranoia, delusions, anxiety. Lars showed all those symptoms. Is it possible the head blow caused brain damage? That this brain damage caused the paranoia? Yes, it's possible. Theory 2, first break psychosis. Dr. Todd Grande, a certified mental health counselor who covered Lars's case on his YouTube channel, proposed another possibility, first break psychosis, or the onset of something like schizophrenia. Schizophrenia often first appears in late 20s or early 30s. Lars was 28. Schizophrenia symptoms include paranoia, persecutory delusions, hallucinations, believing people are following you, that they want to kill you. Lars believed 4 men were following him, that they wanted to kill him. That sounds exactly like paranoid schizophrenia. But there's a problem with this theory. Lars had no history of mental illness. None. And nobody in his family had schizophrenia. Schizophrenia usually develops gradually. There are early signs. Strange behavior that builds over time. Lars showed no signs before this week in Bulgaria. So is it possible schizophrenia appeared suddenly? Yes, but it's unusual. Theory 3, the persecution was real. What if Lars was right? What if there really were people following him? Trying to kill him? Lars was attacked. That's a fact. He has a ruptured eardrum to prove it. He said 4 men hired by Bayern Munich fans beat him. Is it possible those men continued pursuing him? That they followed him to the hotel? That they followed him to the airport? Bulgaria has one of the highest rates of human trafficking in the European Union. People are forced into slavery, sex work, drug trafficking. Some have their organs removed against their will. Is it possible Lars was targeted by traffickers? That the 4 men were traffickers? Is it possible they saw a German tourist alone, vulnerable, and decided to strike? This theory would explain why Lars was never found. If he was a victim of traffickers, he could have been killed, or forced into slavery, or sold. But there's no evidence of this. No evidence Lars was involved with criminals. No evidence he was targeted. Theory 4, drug trafficking. Another theory suggests Lars or his friends were involved in drug trafficking. Some have speculated that Lars's friends who flew back to Germany without him were the ones transporting drugs, and that Lars stayed behind as some kind of insurance. Others have speculated Lars himself was transporting drugs, and that the bar attack was a message from drug traffickers. But Bulgarian and German authorities reviewed Lars's belongings. They found no drugs. They found no evidence of trafficking. So this theory also lacks evidence. Theory 5. Lars wanted to disappear. Another popular theory is that Lars was looking for an excuse to run away and start a new life. That he planned the whole thing. The attack. The paranoia. The airport flight. That he wanted to disappear. Leave behind his family. His girlfriend. His job. But Dr. Grande doubts this. Lars was on good terms with his loved ones, he said. His friends offered to reschedule their flight so he wouldn't have to fly alone. He was texting his mother throughout the trip. Plus, Lars didn't take anything with him when he fled. He left his passport, his phone, his wallet, his money. If he was planning to start a new life, why would he leave everything behind? So what's the truth? Nobody knows. When Lars Mittank didn't board his flight to Germany, his mother, Sandra, panicked. She called Bulgarian authorities. She reported Lars missing. Bulgarian police began a search. They checked the airport. They checked the forest near the airport. They checked Highway A2. They used dogs, helicopters, local volunteers. They searched for days. They found nothing. No trace of Lars. No clothing. No belongings. No body. Sandra Mittank didn't give up. She hired a private investigator, Andreas Gudig. Gudig checked hospital records for patients without identification. He checked shelters. He checked prisons. Nothing. He also checked security cameras throughout the region, looking for any sign of Lars after he left the airport. Nothing. Germany's Federal Criminal Police Office, the BKA, got involved. They worked with Bulgarian authorities. They interviewed witnesses. They analyzed the airport video frame by frame. What did they find? They found Lars really did run into the forest, that he scaled the fence, that he disappeared into the sunflower field. But the cameras didn't capture what happened next. They didn't capture if anyone chased him. They didn't capture if anyone picked him up on the highway. They only captured Lars, running, alone. Over the years, there have been multiple reported sightings of Lars. About a year after his disappearance, a truck driver thought he saw him hitchhiking in Varna. In 2019, a German truck driver picked up a hitchhiker from Dresden to Schildow in Oberhavel, Brandenburg. The driver became aware of Mittank's case later and said the man with him resembled an older version of Mittank. There have been reported sightings in Canada, in South America, in homeless shelters in Germany. In 2020, a photo appeared on Twitter of a homeless man in Dusseldorf who allegedly resembled Lars. None of these sightings have been confirmed. Lars's mother, Sandra, has expressed her belief he's still alive, that he possibly lost his memory. Every time I see that video, I feel like I want to protect him, Sandra said on a German television show. I want to rescue him. Sandra has campaigned tirelessly to keep the search for Lars alive. She puts up missing person posters. She appears on television shows. She works with community activists. She even worked with psychics hoping to find her son. But over 10 years later, Lars remains missing. And now let's analyze something important. Something that makes this case even more confusing. Lars had experience in hunting, fishing, and trapping. He knew how to survive outdoors. But Bulgaria in July is brutally hot. Temperatures over 35 degrees Celsius. Intense sun. Little water in the forest. Could Lars have survived in the forest for long? Experts are skeptical. Even with survival skills, lack of water and food would have weakened him quickly. Plus, if Lars was experiencing psychosis or paranoia, he's unlikely to have been thinking rationally about survival. He was in panic mode, in flight mode. So what happened to Lars after he entered the forest? There are several possibilities. Possibility 1, he died in the forest. If Lars was dehydrated, disoriented, and scared, he could have succumbed to the elements. He could have passed out from heat. He could have died from dehydration. His body could be somewhere deep in the forest, never found. Animals could have dispersed his remains, making identification impossible. This is the simplest explanation, and unfortunately the most likely. Possibility 2, he was a victim of human trafficking. If Lars left the forest and reached Highway A2, he could have been picked up by someone who saw him, alone, vulnerable, confused. Bulgaria has a high rate of human trafficking. It's possible Lars was targeted, that he was forced into slavery, or killed for his organs, or sold. This theory would explain why he was never found, why there's no trace of him. But again, there's no evidence. Possibility 3, he's alive and lost his memory. This is Sandra's hope, that Lars is alive, that he's somewhere, that he lost his memory due to head injury or trauma, that he's living as a homeless person, not knowing who he is. Sightings of homeless men resembling Lars support this theory, but so far, none have been confirmed as Lars. Possibility 4, he disappeared intentionally. This is the least likely theory, but some people believe it, that Lars planned everything, that he wanted to disappear, that he's living somewhere under a different identity. But this theory doesn't make sense. Lars left everything behind. He took no money. He took no identification. And his actions in the video don't look planned. They look desperate, terrified. So which is most likely? Personally, I think possibility 1 is most likely. That Lars died in the forest. That his body was never found. But the truth is nobody knows. And that's what makes this case so haunting. In October 2014, 3 months after Lars disappeared, Bulgarian authorities released the airport security camera video. The reason was simple. They wanted help from the public. They wanted someone to recognize Lars. For someone to have seen him after he ran from the airport. The video was uploaded to YouTube, and it went viral. Not immediately, but gradually. YouTube's algorithm pushed it. People shared it. True crime channels covered it. By May 2018, less than 4 years after Lars's disappearance, the video had been viewed over 16 million times. Lars Mittank became the most famous missing person on YouTube. Why did this video go so viral? There are several reasons. First reason, the video is hauntingly clear. It's not blurry. It's not edited. It's raw security footage. In real time. With timestamps. You see Lars walking through the airport. You see his body language. You see the panic in his movements. And then you see him run. Scaling the fence. Disappearing. It's visceral. It's real. Second reason, the mystery is complete. There's no closure. No answers. No body. No explanation. Just a man running toward a forest. And never seen again. It's the type of mystery that haunts people. That makes them theorize. That keeps them up at night. Third reason, the terror element. Lars screams, "I don't want to die here," before running. Those words are terrifying. What was he running from? What did he see? Was he in real danger? Or was he hallucinating? We don't know. And that's what makes it so chilling. Fourth reason, it's relatable. Lars isn't a criminal. He's not a fugitive. He's not someone involved in dangerous activities. He's just a normal guy, a tourist, someone who went on vacation with friends, and disappeared. That could happen to anyone. The video generated millions of comments on YouTube. People analyzed every frame, looked for clues, theories, answers. Some commenters believe Lars was experiencing psychosis, that the head injury or medication caused a mental breakdown. Others believe he really was being pursued, that there was real danger, that the people who attacked him followed him to the airport. Others believe he was a victim of human trafficking, that he was picked up on the highway, that he was killed or sold. Others believe he's alive, that he lost his memory, that he's living as a homeless person somewhere in Europe. And some believe he disappeared intentionally, that he planned everything. Every theory has its defenders. Every theory has its critics. The video also generated an online community dedicated to finding Lars. There's a Facebook page called Findet Lars Mittank, Find Lars Mittank. It has over 55,000 members. People in the group share missing person posters, translate information to different languages, share sightings, share theories. It's a community of people who don't know Lars, but who want to help, who want answers. In 2015, someone contacted us who wanted to give us courage and hope with their life story, says one group post. We don't want to deprive you of this because it sounds incredible, but it's true. Hello to all who are so brave for Lars. Stay tuned and don't give it up. To give you courage, here only briefly is my personal experience in a similarly desperate situation. In 2010, my brother disappeared from his apartment in July. I reported him missing when I assumed he was in a helpless position. For a long time, there was only uncertainty and no evidence. The post continues describing how the brother was eventually found, alive. It's a message of hope. For Sandra. For the community. For anyone who still believes Lars could be alive. But it's been 11 years. And there's been no credible evidence Lars is alive. Every year, around 10,000 people go missing in Germany alone. 50% of all missing persons cases are resolved within less than a week. But less than 3% are actually found within a year. Lars has been missing for over 11 years. The odds of finding him alive are almost zero. But Sandra still has hope. It's December 2025. It's been over 11 years since Lars Mittank disappeared. If Lars were alive, he'd be 39 years old now. He'd be almost 40. An adult man. Maybe married. Maybe with children. Maybe with a different career. But Lars isn't here. And though his mother, Sandra, still has hope, the reality is we'll probably never know what happened to him. After 11 years, here's what we know with absolute certainty. We know Lars Mittank went on vacation to Bulgaria with 5 friends in June 2014. We know that on July 6, 2014, Lars got into a fight with other German tourists over football. That he suffered an injured jaw and ruptured eardrum. We know a doctor advised him not to fly. That he prescribed Cefprozil, an antibiotic. We know his friends flew back to Germany on July 7th. That Lars stayed alone in Bulgaria. We know Lars stayed at Hotel Color Varna the night of July 7th. That hotel cameras captured him behaving strangely, hiding in the elevator, leaving at midnight. We know Lars called his mother multiple times that night. That he told her 4 men were following him. That he asked her to block his credit cards. We know that on July 8th, Lars went to Varna airport. That he consulted with Dr. Kosta Kostov. That the doctor told him he could fly. We know that when a construction worker entered the doctor's office, Lars screamed, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here," and ran. We know he abandoned his luggage, his passport, his phone, his wallet. We know security cameras captured him running through the airport, jumping a fence, running toward a sunflower field. We know he disappeared into the forest. And we know he was never seen again. These are the facts. Everything else is speculation. Everything else is theory. So what don't we know? We don't know what caused Lars's paranoia. Was it the head injury? Was it the medication? Was it first break psychosis? Or was there real danger? We don't know who the construction worker was who entered the doctor's office. Was it just a random worker? Or was it someone Lars recognized? We don't know if anyone was really following Lars. Airport cameras didn't show anyone chasing him. But that doesn't mean there wasn't anyone. We don't know what happened to Lars after he entered the forest. Did he die from the elements? Was he a victim of human trafficking? Did he lose his memory and is living as a homeless person? Did he disappear intentionally? 11 years later, these questions remain unanswered. But there's one thing we do know. We know Lars Mittank shouldn't have disappeared. He shouldn't have ended up running terrified into a forest. He shouldn't have gone 11 years without being found. If Lars was experiencing psychosis due to head injury, he should have received proper medical treatment in Bulgaria. He should have been monitored. He shouldn't have been left alone. If Lars was in real danger, authorities should have protected him. They should have investigated the 4 men he said were following him. If Lars was a victim of human trafficking, Bulgarian authorities should have done more to find him. They should have searched more thoroughly. And if Lars died in the forest, his body should have been found. Searches should have been more comprehensive. Lars Mittank was a 28-year-old young man. He had his whole life ahead of him. He went on vacation with friends. And he never came home. His disappearance generated international attention. Generated a viral video with 16 million views. generated conspiracy theories, generated an online community dedicated to finding him. But it didn't generate answers. Because over 11 years later, nobody knows what happened to Lars Mittank. For Sandra Mittank, Lars's mother, there's no closure, no peace, only questions, and pain, and hope. Every time I see that video, I feel like I want to protect him, Sandra said. I want to rescue him. And millions of people on the internet agree with her. They believe there are still answers to be found. They believe there's still hope. Are they right? Or is Lars really gone forever? I don't know. And after 11 years, maybe we'll never know. What I do know is this: Lars Mittank deserves to be remembered. He deserves justice. And he deserves to have his story told.